What's going on, Drop Shotters? Eddie DLC here. I'm on the journey in 2025 to buy a new tennis racket. And in this video, make sure you bring your sunglasses because this racket's a bright one. I'm doing a tennis racket review on the Head Radical Pro. This racket came out in March of 2025. The retail price is $279. The specs on this racket, Drop Shotters, I will plug it in right here from Tennis Warehouse. The racket was strung at 54 pounds and the strung weight is 11.7 ounces. Current professional tennis player and world ranked number 4 Taylor Fritz uses this racket along with one of the most famous retired players of all time, Andy Murray, who's Novak Djokovic's coach currently, also used past versions of this Head Radical Pro. Drop Shotters, I've been playing gladiator tennis matches while doing these racket reviews, but today I have a special treat for you. I got a private lesson by one of the best Chicagoland tennis pros in the area, Aaron Rusnik. Make sure you check out Aaron on IG and visit his website at innovationtenniscoaching.com. Drop Shotters, stay tuned. It's going to be an awesome racket review. I hope you enjoy it. Thank you.
I think I'm pretty good.
Yeah. All right, Drop Shotters, when it comes to the Head Radical Pro and volleys, the pros, it's a very agile racket that allows for quick reactions. It gives off comfortable feel and control when facing fast-paced shots. It's a great racket in doubles for a 4-person reflex volley drill. The needs of improvement, I think with the wrong tension, I can see volleys sailing deep. Its overall firmness wasn't ideal when hitting soft drop shots, angle drop shots, and half volleys. All right, Drop Shotters, when it comes to the Head Radical Pro and forehands and backhands, pros, it is a comfortable feel. The 360 plus technology framework reduces vibrations. It offers solid stability and control. It is very spin friendly in my opinion. The 16x19 framework facilitates with spin generation for those heavy top spin types of players. Needs of improvement or cons. The low to medium power level requires players to generate their own power. And the racket is head light. It's not my personal preference, so players, in my opinion, must have solid technique when hitting forehands. When it comes to the Head Radical Pro and the backhand, the pros overall, it's a solid and precise racket. I can see it reducing strain on players' joints in the elbows and shoulder. It felt easier to control with my left wrist once contact was made to roll over. The needs of improvement, the cons, it is a 98 square inch head size. It carries a smaller sweet spot. I think I would struggle with the return of serve in match play, where I would have to block or slice my backhands back, so I'm already on the defensive when starting the point. When it comes to the Head Radical Pro, the things I liked, I really enjoyed the slice and kick serves when spin generated. It's easier racket speed, helpful execution of second serve kicks. It's a versatile racket for all levels of players. The cons of this racket is not for big bomb types of servers, more of a placement of serve racket. The plow through power serves are non-existent, and it's not a very good racket if trying to hit depth serves in the service box. What up, drop shotters? Eddie DLC here. I'm here with a good buddy of mine, Aaron Rusnik. Aaron, thank you so very much for taking the time today. It's the middle of March, drop shotters. A little chilly. This is coming back from the Head Radical Pro review that we just did. Aaron was dealing with a little mini hamstring injury, but let me tell you something. He was moving a lot better than I was still. A couple forehands, backhands, volleys, and obviously he definitely helped me with my serve. Aaron, that serve, believe it or not, I play in the Gladiator Tennis League, and I'm 3-0 currently. And literally, those tips that you gave me, I had a match this morning, 1-6, 1-6-3, so much love in regards to just those tips that you had. Aaron, enough about me in regards to my tennis matches. I think the biggest thing, Aaron has his own website, Drop Shotters. What's the vision, the philosophy, and obviously name drop the website in regards to letting everyone know?
Sure. Yeah, no, the website, it's called innovationtenniscoaching.com. I developed it about a year ago. The whole sole purpose was to basically help give a resource for coaches, education, basically how to make progressional drills, programming how to develop an aggressive baseline or serve and volley, all court player, creating programs for doubles classes, singles development, because in the last 30 years, the last 15 of my years, I've really had taken a liking to actually helping coaches become better coaches, because I've seen not enough support, I think, in many different levels, whether it's high school coaching, college coaching, as I was a former college coach, just giving the coaches the support they need. And that just started with me really having a vision of what I love, but at the same time, listening to the coaches of what they need. So I developed basically the website to try to help assist coaches, and in creating new programs where over time I have it where I'm starting to mentor coaches on a daily basis, which is actually what I'm doing at 5-Star right now, where I get to work with about 15 staff members on a daily basis, and that's very similar to what this website will be, where it's really going to just try to empower coaches with the right amount of knowledge and progressional knowledge, so they know how to regress things or progress things depending on what they need for their environment, whatever that might be, whether it's a club setting, high school setting, college setting, that just trying to give them a very unique way in how to continue great growth in their players, and in a positive way of doing it, I think is really important. I think that's just something why I created that, last year. Just taking 30 years of experience and kind of combining it into this website to try to help, the tennis community. Sure.
Outstanding. Drop Shotters, about a month ago, middle of February, it was the Illinois Tennis Workshop, and Aaron was pretty much the guest speaker. He ran about an hour and a half lesson. He had about hundreds of the boys and girls varsity coaches and assistant coaches in the Illinois, pretty much the state of Illinois. You can hear a pin drop. That is how much the game that Aaron actually knows. So I highly recommend going and seeing some great things in regards to his website. Aaron, I'm about to hit you with some rapid fire questions. The first one is that stick that you got in your hand. Can you let all the drop shotters know what tennis racket you're playing with? Your strings, weight, pretty much anything you want to talk about that racket.
Absolutely. I've been playing with this racket. It's an Angel. It's actually the guy who developed. His name's Paul Angel, and that it's a custom racket. It's basically 13-ounce frame, 13-ounce weight on the racket, 12 points headlights, a 16-19 pattern, 4 and 5/8 grip is the grip, so I play the larger grip compared to most people nowadays. It's foam injected, so all the rackets I have many of them in the last 15 years, so I probably bought 15-16 rackets. They all have the same weight, balance, and swing weight, are pretty much spot on. My string of choice right now that I've been playing with this, I've changed some strings over the years, but what I really like is I have Babolat Touch natural gut in the mains, and then Wilson Sensation in the crosses, both 16 gauge. Like I said, I've been playing with this for 16 years. It's actually basically a remake of a racket that I used to play with. There was a Fisher, it's called Fisher Pro FT Tour. I played with it all the way up until the point of when they switched to Pacific. But yeah, I've been playing with that. I've been playing it for the last 16 years. and I don't think I'll ever switch.
Can I borrow for a second?
Yeah,
Again?
absolutely.
I know drop showers want to see. It's a beautiful racket. Now, nothing against that head Radical Pro, but that thing, you needed your sunglasses for that, right? That thing was bright orange. Aaron, if you let the drop shotters know your upbringing, where'd you grow up, your highest level, ranking, college, futures, challengers, anything that you want to let the drop shotters know. Aaron is a baller, drop shotters. Let me just start off by saying that.
No, thank you for that. Yeah, no, I grew up in Alsip, Illinois. I grew up my whole life there. I went to Shepherd, which is in Palos Heights. I only briefly played part of my high school season at the beginning of my freshman year. It was just a time of where there was really no one to play with on my team when I came on. So there was a gentleman who was a really, really good player. He played at Northern. This guy Nick. The coach wished either he was a year younger or I was a year older, so we could have played doubles together for high school. But in that time, I basically would actually teach my my classmates in that after school. So instead of training, I was teaching other kids. And then I would then go to my club that I grew up playing at, was Evergreen Racket Club at the time, and Oaklawn Racket Club. And that's where I'd go and play one of those two facilities growing up to play tennis. And yeah, so I didn't play high school fully. I obviously only played, I think, 11 matches in high school. I lost in the mini state, which was like at Hershey High School. I lost in the finals to this guy at from Lake Forest High School. But yeah, went on to later on, teach full time. Was gonna maybe go play college tennis. If I was gonna be at Michigan State. I think was where I was gonna lean towards. But yeah, ended up playing local tournaments, which then turned into the national tournaments, which then me turning when I was 21, I turned pro, which then I started playing futures. I actually started in Decatur, Illinois. Was my first future I ever played in 02. Played until 2008, and played two challengers, one in 2002 when Craig Tyler was at Illinois as the head coach, and then in 2008 I played a Racket challenger here in Illinois as well. That's kind of where I finished up playing at. Was one of my last matches I played, and before I took on coaching full time completely. But throughout that whole pro career, I was also teaching. But yeah, played juniors. Was a ranked junior. Was never very high in singles actually. Doubles was my thing through juniors, through 14s on up. Got to the top 10 in 18s in singles and doubles, and then obviously then going into the pro version, going to the circuit. In that I just played the USTA Pro circuits. All I played. There was, when I was growing up there, through the circuit years, that there was 1,900 professional tennis players in the U.S. The number one player being Andy Roddick at the time. I was 220. That was the best I ever had, and that was actually in 2008. I started when they started coming out. That was called the top 500 list. When I first started, I was at 495. Then went 442, like the Oldsmobile car back in the day, and then I had 295, and then I finished off at 220. And but yeah, so I was right under the cusp of having an actual professional ranking. I did play main draw. Trying to think what year it was. Probably, I think it was 2004, 2005 at Carthage College. They had futures there. I was in main draw doubles there. Losing out to the number one team in the country from Ohio State. I think it was 6-4. But anyways, yeah, that was my pro career. I had to overcome a lot of injuries in that because I served and volleyed at both serves. Kind of not very much what they do anymore nowadays, but yeah, that's kind of what I did throughout my whole career. Since 14 on, I was a serve and volleyer, so I was always attacking the net. And yeah, so then I kind of retired because my body was finally telling me it was kind of probably hard to kind of continue that path, financially. Mentally it was there, physically it was hard, and then financially it was just getting very difficult to sustain that, to be able to keep going forward. I was married and trying to move on, and also other stages of my life as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. Couple of tennis facilities, towns, states, countries, some of the best tennis venues that you have played at or seen in your lifetime?
Yeah. First one that sticks out is International Tennis Hall of Fame, Newport, Rhode Island. Grass court, which obviously is my favorite surface, actually, is grass, but just the history of the game, just knowing how many greats were basically inducted at that facility. You walk in those doors and it's just an amazing feeling. It has a very old feeling to it, but at the same time, a very honorable feeling that so many great players of our many generations and decades of the sport, that continue to keep it thriving, have walked through these doors and been inducted, and so many great things have been done there. And to be able to be there, that was very memorable. I played that in 2008 actually with Anthony, and which we took out like the #1 team in the country at the time in the it was the quarterfinals, I believe it was, at the men's national event. So they played at Duke and the other played at UCLA, and I know that was a highlight win for us. Me and I used to teach him, and to have that with your former student, and also he was a head coach when I was assistant one time at Elmhurst. So to have that kind of all together, it was really meaningful for him and I to have that kind of bond to do that. And then yeah, probably the second one is the U.S. Open. When I played the 2008 National Open over there, it was amazing to play on those courts. My dream as a kid was always to play on Arthur Ashe Stadium, being the underdog, being the qualifier, playing some big name person, and having a massive upset. That was like my vision in my head. I always wanted to have that happen. And then probably the third one was the Tennis Channel Open in Las Vegas. I got to play on the stadium court there. There was a 5-5 open level USTA teams championships. We got to play out there. So Brett was part of that team there. So we got to practice on those courts. We didn't get to play our matches there, but we got to practice there. They let us play out there. So that was a very cool experience to play on those courts. Really nice venue there. Just the whole facility was amazing. And then probably the other one is in Austria last year when I was with Dominic Team last year with him and his dad and his brother Moritz and their staff there, and then just the facility academy that his dad runs, Wolfgang runs there, is amazing. And getting time to spend time with Dominic there and his family and playing on the red clay was pretty amazing. It was actually the true red clay. I played on red clay here in the States, but it's not. At the time, I know there's some places now that are coming out with some clay here that's real, but when I was growing up way back when, it was not that way. So yeah.
Outstanding. Dominic Team, one of the best one-handed backhands of all time. Obviously retired, wrist injury. Also shout out to Dominic Team. Speaking of professional tennis players, Aaron, past, present, what are some of your favorite tennis players of all time and/or currently?
Yeah, probably the reason why I'm sitting here right now with you is probably Andre Agassi. So he was my first idol I ever had in the game. He was my one and only idol for a very long time. And then once I switched to serving and volleying when I was 14, I started to idolize. My main person I idolized was Patrick Rafter, and I emulated my game so much about him. But I loved Stefan Edberg, Rod Laver, a guy named Max Mirny. There's just so many guys I can think of that were attacking players, but probably some other guys that I also looked up to also was a guy named Jonas Borkman, and then Todd Martin, in the States, and from the States, and then doubles. I love the Luke and Murphy Jensen. They were awesome. They were rock stars growing up. With like the stuff they used to wear, the earrings, and then they football jerseys on. They played, but their tennis was amazing. I've been privileged to play some exhibitions with those guys years ago, and had a really good relationship with them. But they were amazing. And then I also liked Leander Paes was amazing in doubles as well. There's just a lot of the Woodies and stuff. There's a lot of guys I really emulated. But I'd probably say if there's one person I had to pick, probably my whole entire career, I just loved watching him playing and so much respect, was probably Patrick Rafter. And older players, it's probably nowadays still playing with me, like Max Mirny. Yeah, Max Mirny or Gael Monfils is another guy that I really, appreciated watching. And then the new generation, newer, obviously Roger Federer and I are the same age, but, I loved watching Roger play and watching him play even when I was playing, my futures, watching him play tour events. He's just got a classic game. I just love, the variety he had. And, I love Nadal. Nadal's, I think, an amazing role model. Him and Roger, I think, are amazing role models. Novak, I have much respect for him, and I think the things that he does, the alternative, from mental focus and that holistic way of living. That's how my wife and I live our lives. It's the same. Before it's become popular, it's something my wife and I have been doing for a long time. And those are probably, some of the guys I would definitely, put up there as, people nowadays. And obviously of the newest generation of people, and that I love Jannik Sinner. I think he's the most steadiest player out there, consistent performer on a daily basis, no matter what surface he's playing on. And then as far as the guy who I love watching, obviously, is Alcaraz. I think in the next year or two, he's going to, get in that rhythm of like what Roger and those guys did. I just think of like when, I know he's already won slams, but he reminds me a lot of when the way Roger was before he won his first slam. Where he had moments of brilliantness, and you say, if you can put this together, he's going to be dangerous, and he did. And I really feel that with, Alcaraz, I think that's just a matter of time before he puts it together. I think it's just maturing more. I think it's going to happen for sure.
Some phenomenal names. One of the things that I really push on my high school varsity team, both boys and girls, is how mental of a game this game is. Can you give some pointers to any young kids, teenagers, aspiring college players that might want to go possibly play future challengers, or maybe go for a Golden Pro? What have you seen in the years, 30 plus years of you just doing everything that you've done as a player and a tennis pro? Just the mental side of it. Any pointers you can give out there?
Yeah, I think nowadays, things have changed. You think of even 30 years ago, where I was at as a beginner coach or a player before that, and then now so many things have changed, especially with the internet, and there's so much available, knowledge, so to speak. But it's just how it's used. But I think that the key thing also on the ranking side is a lot of kids obsess about their WTN or the UTR and stuff like that. And, when I was growing up, I was things were a little bit different, but I always tell my kids the main focus is, having every day be purposeful and your thoughts purposeful in what you're doing with the ball, and be more process minded. I think that if you journal like what your goals are that day in practice, what you got out of the lesson, or if you played a tournament, taking notes of what the player did well, what they didn't do well. I know that's something I did it as a junior player, and as a pro I used to take notes of if I played you, what were your pros, what were your cons, if I lost, I'd write down the score, and if I lost, what I learned that I need to do next time, what were maybe the patterns I need to do, maybe I need to change the speed of the ball, more spin, whatever it might have been, the height of the ball, or my tactics, what I need to change. Just becoming a student of the game. I know a lot of the kids nowadays, they just don't necessarily follow tennis as much as I remember when I was a kid. Speaking about when I first played tennis, I used to go watch Agassi, and obviously tennis is TV viewing is a little bit different nowadays. I remember the days of hitting off my garage door, and then during commercials, and then once tennis was on, I'd run into my house, drop right to my knees watching tennis until the next commercial, and then I go back out in the garage. But when you bring up past players, a lot of kids don't know what the past players are, and they really paved the way of what you see today. So many of, if you listen to a Yannick Sinner, or Alcaraz, if you listen, they're talking about not just even Roger or Novak. They're talking about players even before that were idols of theirs. They looked up maybe their country, the people in their country, or other people from afar. There were top players back then that they really idolized something or learned something from. I think it was valuable. So I think that's one aspect. Is focusing on the process. The other thing is also, I think visualization is good. I think it takes time. It's not something I can just start doing it. It's just like anything else, like learning any stroke or improving your stroke. It just takes time and work on doing it. It's something I personally used to do always before competitions, is just visualizing, executing the right plays, because I served and volleyed, and just visualizing. It's not even visualizing another person, but visualizing how it felt to hit the ball, where I'm moving, how that volley felt when hitting it. I could visualize the ball going to an open area of the court, so you're basically reinforcing yourself with a positive result. The more your brain can't tell the difference between reality and imagination. So it's when I was injured a lot, there was times where if I was out for 3 months, I could do visualization, and then I'd come back and it's like I'd hit the ball like I'd never left. Because it's your brain doesn't know that. Once you got your feet going, and I felt great doing it that way. Some books, I think Jim Lura was always amazing. I read them a lot when I was a kid. He's always coming out with great books. He came out with one last year. He just continues to keep evolving, and the data and the knowledge that he has. And I think just taking up with him, I think I was going to mention is a lot of kids, because they like apps. I think AP is a really good app. I've used it with my players, and that really gets them a chance to know themselves. And, it has meditation in there, it has visualization in there, it has journaling in there. It has an opportunity where coaches can actually journal in their thoughts of what the players should be focusing on. So it's a lot of good feedback. Actually, Jim Laura is part of that process, and a guy named Brian Park. I think it's a really good app. So if you're into apps, that's something there. If you don't have time to read books, I think something's a really good accessible there. The other thing too, I think, is the one thing that I wish I had growing up, and that thinking about it now, is there's a thing, Racket Stats. This guy Andy Durham does analytics. He's been doing it since the 70s with Billie Jean King and Arthur Ashe. He's a buddy of mine. I think what he does, and also another app I think that's great to use, I think that would help me more that process minded, is a thing called Swing Vision. It really shows where your ball location is, the amount of spin you're producing, the speed you're hitting. If you play a match, if any I played in that, it'd be great, because then you can see where all our balls are landing during play. So then if maybe there's certain times when you're not executing certain things in that, it can really show you where those faults are, and then it gives you an opportunity, a plan on how to practice accordingly. So whether you're practicing on your own, practice with a buddy or you have a coach like Eddie or myself, then you're basically able to time stuff now able to practice with purpose. Whether it's a group setting or a private setting, it really helps kind of make those ways. And I always tell my players, the saying nowadays is, being 1% better. And it's truth. If every day you come out and you're trying to improve a little bit each day, you think about it, within the end of the year, if you're playing, say, even 200 times a year, you're 200% times better than you were at the beginning of the year. Whether it's mentally, physically, or tactically or technically, depending on what you need to be working on and addressing.
That is outstanding. One thing I'm probably going to borrow and take, Aaron, is the journaling. I think that is a phenomenal idea. I love the apps that you mentioned. I know all of the ones that you obviously mentioned, so just phenomenal. Brett Morse Carzin, YouTube channel, shout out to him, played in Turkey for USA, 35 and up. Drop shotters, that's the individual that you'll see very soon, or the video in regards to 6'10" versus the tallest tennis player I've ever played in my life. Shout out to Anthony McPherson, the head tennis and platform tennis pro at Medina Country Club. Speaking of Anthony, Aaron, just they've offered to take me out. I've never done it. It's on the bucket list, but you and A-Train, we call Anthony A-Train around here in the Chicagoland area. What did you literally just do yesterday? Can you, what sport did you play? In the facility? The likes of what sport, everyone. This will happen very soon for Eddie DLC.
I went to, there's a place I play out of, it's called Alma, and the owner, her name's Abigail. It's called Padel. So if everyone wonders, that's what it's all about. It stands for soul, and I love it there because it's just a really warm feeling there. The people are there. The ownership is great. I brought my son there yesterday. He's on spring break, and I had Anthony yesterday out there playing with two former college players that we both worked with. One player, Alex, who played one for when I was actually the assistant coach, is my former student. Anthony used to be my former student, is in juniors, and through his college years, I worked with him. When he was the head coach, Alex was the one player, and that's when Elmer's made history for their conference championship in 2013. As part of that, I was briefly part of that with him, and then we had this boy. His name's Sean. And Sean was actually my number 2 player when I became the head coach. When Anthony left, I took over the coaching there, and I got them out there. And it was kind of nice also because Sean didn't know Alex, and we got them all there. And within 30 minutes, they both said they were signing up for membership. They were hooked, and Alex said it's better than tennis. And I told him, I said, I don't know if I'm gonna go that far, but I do really love it. I think it's fun, but I really, on a coaching standpoint, I also liked it because I see how certain things you could learn there, they will actually transfer to tennis. Where I'm not anti-pickleball by any means, but I know that a lot of people go, pickleball transfers to tennis, but the things you can get out of Padel between the continental grip, the slicing, the volleys, the feel of the ball, the communication, playing the ball off the wall, obviously is not a tennis per se, but the communication and the other things that you have to be able to do, obviously work on your overheads, but a lot of be able to lob is another thing. I think those skills are much needed nowadays. A lot of kids have trouble volleying, coming forward to the net, having feel. A lot of kids want to hit through the court. I think being able to change the speed, the spin, or the height of the ball really can disrupt people. So I think learning that also in that game, they work on that because not everything can be hit hard. Obviously sometimes hitting the ball hard off the wall does not always work in your favor. It can work against you. So you have to be more particular. So understand where the players are standing, which is just like in doubles, understanding where the holes, the pockets are, what you want to create them to do. So I'm a big fan of it. From a playing standpoint, I love playing it. Even from a coach's standpoint, I was like, I told one of my owners at 5-star, I was like, I'd love to get us to have one court of that. And I would just take all of our younger kids, and part of their tennis experience would be playing that, just because there's so much positive things I think that will transfer over to actual physically playing tennis.
That is phenomenal. Aaron, thank you so very much. Can you let the drop shotters know one more time the name of your website, what they should look out for in the near future with yourself, your plans with the website, coaching, pretty much last words for the drop.
Sure, absolutely. Thank you again, buddy. I appreciate this. No, actually, it's again, like I said, it's innovationtenniscoaching.com. You can communicate with me there. I have an email there that you can follow me on. Also, I have my cell phone number on there, so if you want to text me or call me in that, I'm available. I'm here for coaches and players. I do, analytics on the site. It'll show kind of the history of myself as a player, the players I've developed in my 30 years, the opportunities that I've been very grateful to have in these 30 years with people I've developed, whether they're someone who never became really high or someone who became really high in the area or beyond. I'm just grateful to have those opportunities to work with them. But ultimately, the site was also designed to really help coaches, because my thing is, if I can help another coach become a better coach, that's going to have a ripple effect of impacting more people's lives than it can alone. And my thing is that I think that tennis has so many life skills to it, and I think that if we empower coaches and getting the support that they need, and they become better coaches and they have more belief in themselves, it'll wear off into their clients. No matter what they're working with, juniors or adults. So I'm a real big believer on that. So in my site, you'll see that it's really the courses developed on developing an all-court player, aggressive baseline or serve and volley, or all different types of things as far as running programs and stuff. Because for me, the biggest thing over the years is the last 15 years that I've been mentoring a lot of coaches, and it's hence what I'm doing at 5-Star right now, is working with coaches on a full-time basis, going over a lot of things, whether it's dealing with helping educate parents, or handling how to develop program classes to become better, or their private lessons, fixing maybe strokes or analytics and stuff like that. I can do that also as well. I'm available to help players as well. So it's not just coaches, but a lot of it's also towards coaches, to trying to help them, because if we just help improve the education, the proper education the coaches need, or what they're looking for what their needs are in that, I think helps them become more successful. And whatever they're doing, whether it's high school coaching, college coaching, or running programs at a club or a private club, I think will become ultimately help tennis succeed. And that's really why I'm doing this. It's not for me, it's what's best for the community, the tennis community, and what's best for tennis all over that. So for me, I've been grateful even recently working with a lot of local coaches here, as well as coaches in other states and in other parts of the world right now I've been working with. And just everybody's demographic and environment is different, and for me it's just a matter of listening to what their needs are, and then just understand really what they want to get out of it, and for me to best support them in their journey. So for me, it's if I see, just when I see a player succeed in something in that, it makes me feel good that I'm part of that journey, I'm that guide or tool. And for me to help another coach become better, and I've had these experiences where they have these aha moments with players or programs, and they call me back, or they come out and tell me how much better it is. It makes me feel good that, my purpose on this earth is being used in a way that's helping others, become successful in their journey as well. So,
Aaron, drop shotters, from personal experience, Aaron gave me about an hour and a half tennis lesson. You will not be disappointed. So innovationtenniscoaching.com. Make sure you go and visit the website. Aaron, muchas gracias. I had to hit you with a little bit of Spanish. Thank you for taking the time here today. Okay, this beautiful Saturday. Drop shotters, much love, much appreciated. Aaron.
All right, drop shotters, I hope you liked the video and all the angles that Aaron and I provided. I hope you also enjoyed the interview with Aaron. Make sure you shout him out. Follow him on IG at innovationtenniscoaching.com as well. Drop shotters, the overall racket. I know it's a 2025 racket. I know it's a newer version, but for myself, I'm gonna give this overall racket review a 7.9 out of 10. The main issue I had with this racket, drop shotters, it was just really heavy. That 11.7 ounces was not my personal favorite. Just make sure, drop shotters, if you do play with this racket outdoors, make sure you play with some shades. Until next time, drop shotters, vamos, vamos!